Thanks for coming back to Chef Sawyer Sunday. My name's Chef Sawyer and it's Sunday and I'm about to make the most glorious salad you've ever had in your entire life. I'm gonna make an Asian style dressing today. We're gonna do a ginger lime vinaigrette and you're about to see how. So here I have a beautiful spring mix. A spring mix is just gonna be a mixture of various lettuces. So there's gonna be spinach in there, you have red leaf lettuce, you have some frisee, and today I'm gonna be doing an Asian themed salad. We have a lot of nice bright colors here. We have lots of good textures. We have carrots, cucumbers, radishes, soybeans, purple cabbage, mangoes, and all of these ingredients are gonna come together to make an extremely well-rounded salad. It's gonna have it's salty, it's savory, it's sweet, it's sour, and we got a myriad of different textures going in there. But before we cut up our fruits and vegetables, let's go ahead and make our dressing. It's time for Vinaigrettes 101. So at the very least, a vinaigrette is gonna need three things. It's gonna need some kind of oil, some kind of acid, and other flavorings or seasonings. So for a ginger lime vinaigrette, my main acid is gonna be lime juice. And then most of the time you're gonna wanna use a neutral oil. So I'm gonna take the juice of about 3 or 4 limes. Usually vinaigrettes use vinegar. In this case, we're using lime juice. But oil and lime juice, oil and vinegar, they do not mix together. They're gonna layer out and that's not good. So what we have to do is emulsify the two of them. What's important to remember is that a vinaigrette is 1 part acid, 3 parts oil. So if I use 1/4 cup of lime juice, I'm gonna need 3/4 of a cup of oil. And the best way to emulsify it is gonna be to incorporate it slowly. That's why I have this squeeze bottle here, so I can just let out little bits at a time. Because if you just pour the oil and the vinegar together and you mix it, it's not gonna mix well. It's gonna settle out in a little while. So the proper way to get an emulsification is slowly. In the old days, this used to be whisked and whisked for hours. Here we have some modern tools to help us out. If you have either an immersion blender or a good high-powered blender at home, those will give you the same or similar results as this will. So as I slowly drip in my oil, I want to make sure it lands right where the whisk is blending, and I want to be blending the whole time. You can see after a little bit of blending, we have one homogeneous mixture. It's turned a little white and creamy. That's the result of the oil being blended. And it's also thickened up a bit so that it will coat the back of a spoon a little more than just straight up lime juice will. So this is now the base to our vinaigrette, and all that's left is to add seasonings and good flavors to it. So as everything, we're just gonna give it a little bit of salt and pepper. Just enough to taste it. And now you can't have a ginger lime vinaigrette without the ginger. So here I have a nice big chunk and I'm just gonna grate it finely. You could also just throw this whole piece of ginger into your blender and blend it up with your oil and your lime juice. That works great too. So after we're done grating our ginger, you can see we have a nice fine paste here, and that's why we love the microplane. The ginger and the lime have been acquired, but we're not done yet. Here I have a shallot. This is in the onion family. It's a little more mild than an onion would be. Great flavor though. And you cannot have a good vinaigrette without some sort of onions or garlic in there, because they just impart such an excellent flavor. So once again, the shallot's gonna hit the microplane and we're gonna get this beautiful shallot puree almost, because that's how fine it gets grated. Nice and fine. Following the shallot, some garlic. You could take your ginger and your garlic and your shallot and you could puree it in a food processor. You could chop it finely. There's lots of different ways to achieve a similar result. I love using this microplane for making vinaigrettes like this. Just a little bit of white sugar to add some sweetness to it. 1 little splash of soy sauce just to give it a little bit of some extra Asian flavor. 1 tiny little drop of sesame oil for the same reason. Like I said, very strong, don't use too much, it will overpower your entire recipe. And just a little bit of a splash of rice wine. Rice wine has the same exact function in the vinaigrette as the lime juice does. It adds a real nice sharp acidity to the vinaigrette, but it adds a slight Asian flavor to it. All right, mix that all up, hit it with your little mixy, get it all incorporated. Now we give it a taste and we adjust for seasoning. That's honestly excellent. And you guys saw how easy that was to put together. It tastes professional, like something you might get from an Asian restaurant. The ginger, the garlic, the shallots are nice and strong. I just need a little bit more sugar and a little bit more salt to balance out the flavors, but it doesn't need a whole lot more, just minor adjusting of things, and that's why we always taste it, so we can know. Just adjusting for what it needs, a little bit more sugar, a little bit more salt, and just a touch more vinegar. If you feel like it's not as sour as your tasting would like, you could add more lime juice, you could add white vinegar, you could add red wine vinegar. There's lots of ways to achieve a similar result, and that's what cooking's all about. Everything ties together to make this such a simple, yet extremely flavorful vinaigrette. And now it's time to cut our vegetables. Mango, nice and simple, has a very flat, long seed running on the long way of the mango. So when I see the long side of the mango, I want to trim right on the side of the seeds. So you can see I'm not centered, I'm slightly off center, and that's what you want for, boom, that big piece of mango. And the seed starts right there. And now if I were to cut this way, I couldn't get very much because the seed runs long ways. So I'll flip it over, I'll do the same thing, take off the other side, and now all you have left, besides a seed in the middle, is just two very thin, narrow sides that will not yield nearly as much meat as the long sides. Pretty much this entire thing is one big seed, and really the only good thing for the pit is to just nibble at it and throw it away. And now, take your favorite tablespoon, dig it in just under the skin, and kinda wiggle it around. I rotate the whole mango in my hand. The skin can come off pretty easy sometimes and pretty difficult other times depending on the mango. Sometimes they're grumpy, sometimes they're not. But with a little bit of finagling, we can get the entire piece of mango out with almost no waste left, just the skin. That's a hollow shell of what it used to be. All right, I have all my mangoes peeled, and now it's time for some nice long slices. The color is so pretty, the texture it adds, the sweetness. Mango is such a great ingredient, and I love to use it for many things, including eating raw. Now it's time to slice our radishes. I just removed the tail end, and now the radishes will get a nice thin slice. Here I have a cucumber, nice and easy. Slice it straight down just like the radish. Here's our head of purple cabbage. Time to cut that in half. Take that half, cut it in a quarter, and now thinly shave it. Take your time, go as fast as you feel comfortable. Here I have some carrots. I'm gonna cut off the top and the tail, and now peel them and get all that skin off. So I have a fancy vegetable peeler here that does Julienne. This is thanks to Grandmom. Thank you, Grandmom. So when I pull it on the carrot, all of the slices come out in these beautiful long strands of carrot Julienne. So I'll do that a few times. I'll get all my carrot juliennes. And if you guys don't have these fancy peelers, you can get excellent results just by grating your carrot. And now since these strands are the length of a carrot, this is what we call a chin slapper for this reason. When you get a little bite of the first little tip and then it's like, we don't want any chin slappers in here. So this pile of carrots is just gonna get cut in half. And that will reduce any of the chin slappers. This is an optional step. It's just a garnish on the top. It adds a little bit of crunchiness to it. But here, I took some wonton wrappers, I cut them into strips, and I'm just gonna lightly fry these until they're good and crunchy. When you see your wonton chips are getting golden brown and crispy like these ones, it's a good time to pull them out of the water. All right, everybody, now that we have all of our vegetables prepped, We have our vinaigrette done. Now it's just time to put it all together. Let's assemble our salad. Here I have the spring mix, and it's going into a bowl. This is some cilantro. I just like nice large pieces, hand torn, to be thrown in with the lettuce. To our lettuce and our cilantro, we're just gonna add a couple tablespoons of our lime ginger vinaigrette. You don't want to go too heavy, just enough to coat the lettuces. And follow that with just a little pinch of salt. Toss it all together until you have a beautifully coated salad here. Not too heavy. You can see there's no extra vinaigrette at the bottom. Whatever I put on is just adhering to the lettuce or the bowl, and that's how you know it's dressed perfectly. Our nice big helping of dressed lettuce right to the center of the plate. Here we have our beautiful plate of salad, dressed, and now it's time to garnish. We're gonna do a little pile of shredded purple cabbage here. Some thinly shaved cucumbers right up at the front. Some thinly shaved radishes to go around and garnish the plate a little bit. These add such a nice color, a great crispity, crunchity to them. And we got those dispersed around pretty good. Some nice big slices of mango. Maybe one more. You can't have enough mango in my book. Boy, does that look good so far. And we ain't even done yet. Our Julienne carrots can get just a little sprinkling around the plate to add some nice crunch and some nice color. And boy, is this salad really starting to look pretty. I have some soybeans right here. We're just gonna do a little sprinkling of soybeans on top. We have our crispy, crunchy wonton chips here. Crispies around the outside. Just break it up. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Nobody's gonna complain that their salad has some crunchiness to it. Here we have our bright, vibrant, beautiful, and most importantly of all, vegan salad. That's right, this is entirely vegan. This salad looks so healthy, just looking at it drops my cholesterol. We have fresh, crispity, crunchity, sweet, sour. This salad covers everything you'd ever want. And there's only one thing we can do to make it better. So of course the salad is entirely vegan, but you can always choose to add some extra protein to it if you want. Now it has plenty of protein already with the spinach, the soybeans. There's lots of protein in that salad, but I like a little meat in mine. So here is a nice tuna fillet. Now the key to getting a good sear on the tuna is gonna be take your paper towel and pat it dry just like you would for a steak. Here's how easily we're gonna season it. A little bit of salt. So we gave it salt on both sides, and now I have some tricolor sesame seeds here. I'm just gonna put those on both sides too. You want a nice thick coating if you can. The sesame seeds should have no problem sticking to the tuna, but be gentle because it is a delicate ingredient. Just pick it up, dab it down on all the sides. Make sure you have good coverage. And that looks good and ready to go to me. I like my tuna rare, and I like it raw as well, but we're going for rare today, which means you want your pan screaming hot like you're about to sear a steak, because a piece of tuna is so lean and it can dry out very quickly. So just maybe 30 seconds, 1 minute on each side, you flip it, and it's done if you want it rare in the middle. So my pan should be so hot that my oil is smoking, which is why as soon as I put in the oil, I want to put in the tuna as well to follow it. All right, here we go. Tuna going in the pan. Press down, nice and firm so you get a good sear. As soon as you're starting to get that nice golden brown color on the sesame seeds, that's the perfect time to flip it over. As soon as I got a nice good sear, I see my sesame seeds are toasted, I flipped it and I turn off the heat because the residual heat from the pan will continue to cook it, and a piece of tuna like this does not need long. So that's all done. Now it's time to pull that out of the pan. We got a great sear on both sides, as you can see. All right, it's time to slice up the tuna, and you want to do so on an angle. So I'm starting with my knife at an angle, and I just slice down at an angle as well. And you can see our tuna is seared nice and rare, cooked on the outside, not cooked in the middle. Perfect for a salad like this. I take my seared tuna fillet, throw it right on top of the salad, and of course you have to fan it out a little bit just to showcase how perfectly you cooked that tuna. And if this salad does not look perfect, I don't know what does. The tuna is perfect. The colors are perfect. The dressing, perfect. The pairing of toppings in the salad, the cucumber, the radishes, the soybeans, the carrots, the cabbage, the mango, everything looks so good. It just looks so good. And just to think, you guys can have this same exact salad with only 5.5 hours worth of work. We put in the effort. We took the time. We made it. And now all that's left is to eat it and tell you about it. I feel like I'm some sort of bad person for destroying the beauty of this salad. I feel like it was just a piece of art that should not go touched. I'll get a little bit of the salad, a little bit of the tuna. Something about destroying that masterpiece and eating such an amazing piece of art. It feels so wrong, but it tastes so right. Out of every single video I've ever made, out of every time I've told you guys, you need to try this, you need to cook that, this might be the number one. This might be the number one recipe that you absolutely have to try it, and you absolutely have to cook it, and you absolutely need to know for yourself how good it is. Thanks for coming back week after week to support me, Chef Sawyer. I appreciate each and every one of you guys, and I can't wait to see you all next week. Arrivederci.